What would you say if a cop ordered you to step out of your car during a routine traffic stop right now? Most drivers panic and comply in under 5 seconds, not knowing they just triggered 12 different search tactics that turn a simple speeding ticket into a full criminal investigation. Your compliance just gave police legal permission to destroy your entire day. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what I am about to show you could save you from jail. Cops are trained in psychological manipulation tactics that make you surrender rights you did not even know you had. And I am going to expose every single one. Here is what you are about to learn. The exact words that force cops to back down when they order you out. The Supreme Court ruling that protects your right to stay in your vehicle. The sneaky question cops ask that tricks you into consenting to searches. And the one phrase that ends fishing expeditions immediately. Most people have no idea these tactics even exist, but defense attorneys use them every single day to get charges dropped. Let us talk about why traffic stops are so dangerous for regular drivers. Police departments train officers to escalate every stop into a potential arrest. They call it proactive policing. You call it your worst nightmare. The average traffic stop should take 4 minutes. Check your license, write the ticket, send you home. But cops are trained to stretch this into 20-minute investigations where they are looking for any excuse to search your car, your phone, or your person. Here's the reality. Police use psychological pressure to make you think cooperation is required when it is actually optional. They have perfected 12 specific tactics that turn compliant citizens into criminal defendants. And today, you're learning how to shut down every single one. The first tactic is the compliance test. This happens within 60 seconds of the stop. The officer walks up and immediately gives you a command that sounds official but is not actually required. Here's exactly what they say. Step out of the vehicle for me, or can you turn off the engine and step outside? These sound like lawful orders, but they are actually requests designed to test your compliance level. Let me show you exactly what happens when you comply. You step out thinking you are being helpful. Now you are standing on the roadside where the officer has much more control over the situation. He can claim you seem nervous or agitated. He can say you're reaching for something suspicious. He can order a pat-down for officer safety. Your simple traffic stop just became a criminal investigation, all because you got out of the car when you did not have to. Here is what smart drivers do instead. You stay calm and politely decline. Officer, I prefer to remain in my vehicle unless you are placing me under arrest. Those exact words. The key is staying respectful but firm. You're not arguing or being difficult. You're exercising your constitutional right to remain in your car during a traffic stop. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. Police can only order you out if they have reasonable suspicion. You have committed a crime beyond the traffic violation. A simple speeding ticket does not qualify. Former police officers have confirmed this works because most cops know they cannot force the issue without proper justification. Have you ever been asked to step out during a routine stop? Drop a comment below because most drivers do not realize this is actually optional. The second tactic is the consent search request. This usually happens after you have provided your documents and the officer has run your information. He comes back to your window and says something like this. Mind if I take a quick look inside your vehicle? Or, you do not have anything illegal in here, do you? These questions sound casual, but they are calculated attempts to get you to waive your Fourth Amendment rights. Watch what happens when drivers say yes to these requests. The officer starts searching your entire car, your glove compartment, under your seats, your trunk, your backpack. Everything becomes fair game once you consent. And here is the terrifying part. If he finds anything illegal, even something you forgot was there, you are getting arrested. That old prescription bottle with 2 pills left. That pocket knife you forgot about. That friend's vape pen from last weekend. All evidence in a criminal case. But here is the trick they do not want you knowing. You can simply say, no. Officer, I do not consent to any searches, word for word. Memorize that line because it is your strongest legal protection. You do not need to explain why. You do not need to justify your refusal. You simply exercise your constitutional right to refuse consent. The law is crystal clear on this. Police need either your consent, a warrant, or probable cause to search your vehicle. A traffic violation by itself does not create probable cause for a search. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and this phrase stops search requests 90% of the time. The third tactic is the detention extension. This is when officers try to keep you there longer than necessary to complete the traffic stop. The Supreme Court ruled that traffic stops must be reasonably brief and related to the original violation. But cops try to extend these stops by asking unrelated questions or claiming they need to investigate something further. Here is how this plays out. You have been stopped for speeding. The officer has your license and registration. Instead of writing the ticket and letting you go, he starts asking questions. Where are you coming from today? Where are you headed? Anyone else in the car with you? These questions have nothing to do with your speeding violation, but they are designed to keep you there longer while he looks for reasons to search. Let me show you exactly how to shut this down. After you have provided your documents, you ask this question: Officer, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Those exact 9 words. This forces the officer to make a decision. Either you are being detained for a specific crime or you are free to go. He cannot keep you there indefinitely on a fishing expedition. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection against detention extensions. If he says you're being detained, he needs reasonable suspicion of a specific crime. If he says you are free to leave, then you can actually leave. Either way, you have taken control of the situation and forced him to follow the law. Most people already clicked away. If you're still here, you are in the top 10% of drivers who actually care about protecting their rights. Drop a comment saying, I'm still here because this next part gets even more important. The 4th tactic is the nervous behavior claim. This is when officers say you seem nervous or agitated as justification for extending the stop or conducting a search. The problem is that most people are nervous during traffic stops because getting pulled over is stressful. But police use this normal human reaction as evidence of criminal activity. Here's what typically happens. You are sitting there with your hands on the steering wheel, heart beating fast because you are worried about getting a ticket. The officer notices you are breathing heavily or your hands are shaking slightly. He says something like, "You seem really nervous. Is there something you want to tell me?" Now your normal stress response is being used as probable cause for further investigation. This is 100% legal manipulation, and here is how you counter it. You acknowledge the obvious without giving him ammunition. Officer, most people feel nervous during traffic stops. I'm just focused on getting this resolved safely. This shows you are aware of your emotional state, but you are not admitting to any wrongdoing. The key is staying calm and breathing steadily. Do not fidget with your hands or look around frantically. Keep your hands visible on the steering wheel. Make normal eye contact without staring. Present yourself as cooperative, but not anxious about hidden criminal activity. The 5th tactic is the backup officer intimidation. This happens when multiple patrol cars show up for your routine traffic stop. Most drivers assume this means they are in serious trouble, but it is actually a psychological pressure tactic designed to make you more compliant with requests. Here's the reality behind multiple officers. Sometimes backup is called for legitimate safety reasons, but often it is called to create an atmosphere of intimidation that makes you more likely to consent to searches or answer questions you do not have to answer. The presence of 3 or 4 officers makes most people feel like they have no choice but to comply with everything. But here is what you need to remember. The number of officers present does not change your constitutional rights. You still have the right to remain silent. You still have the right to refuse consent to searches. You still have the right to ask if you are being detained. The backup officers are hoping you will forget these rights because you are overwhelmed by their presence. The 6th tactic is the probable cause manufacture. This is the most dangerous one because it can turn any traffic stop into an arrest. Officers are trained to look for signs they can claim as probable cause for searches or arrests. Things like the smell of marijuana, visible contraband, or suspicious movements. The scary part is how easily probable cause can be manufactured. An officer can claim he smells marijuana even if there is not any. He can say he saw you make a furtive movement toward the center console. He can claim your car matches a description of a vehicle involved in a recent crime. These claims are almost impossible to challenge at the scene, and they give police legal justification to search everything. Listen closely because this is critical. Your best defense against manufactured probable cause is creating a clear record of the interaction. If possible, activate your phone's recording feature before the officer approaches. Keep your hands visible at all times. Do not reach for anything without announcing what you are doing first. Say things like, "Officer, I am reaching for my registration in the glove compartment now." The 7th tactic is the Miranda rights confusion. Most people think police have to read you your rights during any detention, but that is not true. Miranda rights only apply to custodial interrogation. You can be arrested, searched, and charged without ever hearing your Miranda rights if police are not asking you questions designed to elicit incriminating responses. But here is where this gets tricky. Police use this confusion to their advantage. They will arrest you without reading Miranda rights, then claim anything you said spontaneously is not protected. They might also ask questions that seem casual but are actually interrogation designed to build their case against you. Your protection here is simple. Exercise your right to remain silent immediately upon being arrested. Say this exact phrase: "I want to speak to an attorney, and I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Then actually stay silent. Do not try to explain your innocence or ask questions about the charges. Wait for your lawyer. The 8th tactic is the property seizure expansion. This happens when police claim they can search or seize property that is related to your vehicle but not actually in your vehicle. Things like your cell phone, your wallet contents, or bags you're carrying. Here is how this typically unfolds. You have been arrested on some minor charge, like possession of marijuana. The officer wants to search your phone for evidence of drug dealing. He claims your phone is connected to the arrest, so it can be searched as evidence, but the Supreme Court ruled police need a warrant to search cell phones in most circumstances. This is 100% legal protection you need to know about. When police try to search your phone, you say this: "Officer, I do not consent to phone searches, and I want to speak to an attorney. Your phone contains your entire digital life, and protecting it from warrantless searches is crucial." The ninth tactic is the inventory search expansion. When your car gets towed after an arrest, police conduct what is called an inventory search. This is supposed to be a routine procedure to catalog your belongings and protect the police department from theft claims, but officers often use inventory searches as fishing expeditions to find evidence of other crimes. The law says inventory searches must follow standardized procedures and cannot be used for investigative purposes. But in practice, officers sometimes exceed these boundaries and conduct thorough searches looking for anything suspicious. They might open every container, read through papers, or examine electronic devices. Your protection here is knowing that inventory searches have legal limits. If evidence is found during an improperly conducted inventory search, it may be suppressible in court. This is why having an experienced attorney review the circumstances of your arrest is so important. The 10th tactic is the passenger questioning. When you are pulled over with passengers, police often separate everyone and question them individually. They are looking for inconsistent stories that might indicate criminal activity. Passengers have the same constitutional rights as drivers, but most people do not know this. Here is what smart passengers do. They remain silent unless directly asked for identification in states that require it. They do not answer questions about where they have been or where they are going. They do not consent to searches of their personal belongings. And they do not try to help by explaining the situation to police. Watch what happens when passengers start talking. They often contradict the driver's story accidentally. They might mention stops or activities the driver did not mention. They might have outstanding warrants or probation violations that complicate the stop. The safest approach is for everyone to exercise their right to remain silent. The 11th tactic is the K9 alert manipulation. Drug dogs are supposed to alert only when they detect actual drug odors, but these animals are heavily influenced by handler behavior. Studies show drug dogs false alert up to 50% of the time, often when handlers unconsciously signal them to alert on vehicles they want to search. Here's the legal framework that protects you. Police cannot extend a traffic stop to wait for a drug dog unless they have reasonable suspicion of drug crimes. If a dog is already present or arrives quickly, they can use it. But they cannot make you wait 20 minutes for a dog to arrive, just because they want to search your car. If a dog alerts on your vehicle, remember that this does not automatically mean drugs are present. False alerts are common, and a good attorney can challenge the reliability of the alert in court. But at the scene, your job is to clearly state your refusal to consent while remaining calm and compliant. The 12th tactic is the administrative search claim. Police sometimes claim they are conducting an administrative search rather than a criminal investigation. Administrative searches are supposed to have lower constitutional protections, but they also have strict limitations on scope. For example, an officer might claim he is checking your vehicle for safety violations rather than looking for drugs, or he might say he is conducting a welfare check rather than a criminal investigation. These distinctions matter because different types of searches have different legal requirements. Your protection is understanding that administrative searches still require justification. Police cannot randomly inspect your property just because they call it administrative. And if an administrative search uncovers evidence of criminal activity, the officer's true motivations become relevant to whether the search was constitutional. Now, let me walk you through a real scenario using everything you have learned. You're driving home from work when you see flashing lights.